Let's start very simply in Sphinx Pose this morning. So bring your elbows just in front of your shoulders, legs stretched out behind you. You've all done this 1,000 times before. Okay, maybe not 1,000. Yay! And then in this first pose today, just take a couple moments to actually close your eyes. So I often teach a lot of our yoga practice to keep our eyes open because we want to practice being present and the best version of ourselves while awake in the world. But just like a seed or an embryo starts, we start with the yin, which is starting in the darkness, starting in the unknown. So feel with your eyes closed. You might have a sense of light still. Notice that you can even feel the direction of the light, perhaps. And as your body relaxes towards the ground, notice the solidness of the floor, the ground below you. Notice the sounds that you hear all around you. Notice the temperature, the humidity. And then turn your attention inwards. Notice what is kind of noisiest in your body. Maybe you're running around trying to keep up with a bunch of 18-year-olds yesterday. Notice perhaps where your attention is or keeps returning to. And then in your own rhythm, count out 10 full deep breaths before we come out of the posture. So just these last couple breaths in Sphinx. And after your 10th breath, just lay onto your belly. Maybe shake your legs side to side, maybe moan and groan and grunt or squeal. Okay, the barnyard's here. Great. And then after shaking out your legs or releasing with a wiggle, you can take a couple of breaths to find your way to child's pose. And then in child's pose, you're going to slide your knees out wide. And we're going to add a twist. So taking your knees, it's like right on the edge of uncomfortably wide. And then lift up to your elbows and thread your right arm behind your left elbow. Let your right ear come to the ground. And then maybe wrap your left arm behind you or not. Feeling the quality of your inhale, noticing the quality of your exhale. You can feel that there's a natural rhythm, and that when you bring your attention to it, sometimes it can get fuller, like a fatter breath. You might notice a natural pause between your inhale and your exhale, between your exhale and your inhale. And we can just take a moment and just be so grateful that our body actually allows us to breathe without our attention there. That this is actually one of the natural rhythms of our body. And in our yoga practice or meditation practice, we apply our attention to that natural process. And by bringing in a little bit more awareness and consciousness and rhythm, your breath then becomes even more healing for you than what you naturally do without your own attention. It's a very similar process or similar perspective to doing biodynamic farming. We're more than just organic and honoring the natural relationships of nature. There's actually a process where the human attention and mindfulness of the cosmos brings itself to these natural rhythms of the earth and amplifies the qualities of growth and balance and health. Unwind your arms and twist to the other side. So unwinding, keeping your knees elegantly wide, come to your elbows, and then thread your left arm behind your right elbow. Let your left ear come to the ground. And just let yourself settle into the other side of the pose here. So I remember when I first started hearing about kind of alternative agriculture as a study, not just part of how I grew up. Like I was actually born on a biodynamic farm. But this phrase keeps coming up again, that we are not on the earth, but we're of the earth. We don't go out in nature. We are part of nature. And for some people, even doing yoga postures that are given the titles of different animals or natural occurrences like a mountain. By mimicking these shapes and these postures actually can bring us even closer to feeling our connections to these different animals and the different elements of nature. And too often we can get in the habit of just looking at what humans have done to screw it all up. But we don't often ask the question, what do humans do as a unique part of nature? What is a human capacity that you can't find anywhere else that invigorates or revivifies or enlivens nature or each other? Just like remembering to ask the question, okay, we have a lot of fear about sicknesses and viruses, but asking the question, how do other people play into my health, support my thriving, increase my immunity? Take a couple more breaths here. And then start to unwind and slide your knees together and take your arms behind you in Embryo Pose. This nearly is like head in the sand posture or ostrich pose. And then with your inhale, roll up. So you'll be sitting on your heels and slide your left hand out to the left and then drape your right arm over. And maybe you bend your elbow a little bit, maybe not. But let your arm hang and feel where you can invite in the heaviness of yin. So let your right buttocks be heavy. Feel the stretch coming into these small muscles in between your ribs. Feel your neck subtly stretching. This is in between our yin and our yang practice. So it's not our normal go-to yin, but see where you can invite this kind of passivity in being in it. And it's not, I want to say it's not an inactive passivity, but that kind of sounds like a contradiction. But allow the softness of passivity to come into it, even when your attention is present. Feel what it feels like to take a deep inhale. Notice what it feels like to have a full exhale. And then with your next inhale, come stretching up to center, relax your arm down. And yes, we're going to switch sides. Let your right elbow be heavy. So it might not be fully bent, but starting to bend. You have a natural, you want to resist the lift of your left buttocks. There's one yoga teacher that I take classes from, and he talks about how the spirit gets in through the side body. But it is often we're so like, okay, my front body, okay, very hyper aware of our front body. And then yoga, we start to get more aware of our back body, this place where actually often our intuition comes in from behind us. And it's a side body that sometimes we can just kind of skip out on. But for me, it's so lovely, this picture. If we think of the front of us as yang, the back of us as yin, and then it's both of them in harmony to open up to spirit, to wisdom. Notice if you like one side better than the other side, or if you just don't really like that pose, it's fine. Take another full breath. Noticing both the inhale and the exhale. And then inhale up to center. And let your hands come and relax on your knees. Or you can take your hands into prayer. However you want to. Close your eyes again. And we're going to sound 3 ohms. Ohms. Sounded like ums. Ohms. So feel the uprightness in your chest, in your spine, lifting up through your head. Maybe dedicate your class to someone who needs some extra support, enthusiasm, love, or attention. Empty your breath. Take a deep inhale. And then bring your hands down to the ground, shift your knees back and come into tabletop and start to make small circles. And then let the circles start to grow. So it's nothing too sophisticated. You can kind of, do whatever with your spine and your shoulders. Maybe change directions of your circles. Maybe notice if your face is doing something uncomfortable and smile or yawn. And then find your way to the center of the tabletop and then try to make some circles with your ribs. Like you're tracing the inside of a barrel. Very nice. And again, no need for it to be anything. Like it doesn't have to be like a sexy pose. It doesn't have to look really, intense or anything. Change directions of your circles. And then again, land in a neutral tabletop. Stretch your right leg back. Pull your lower abdominals in. Raise your right leg up and reach out with your left hand. Now look up, look at your belly button, and then see if you can find like a neutral neck in between those 2 extremes. Pull your lower abdominals in. With your inhale, stretch long. With your exhale, tap your elbow and knee together and pull your belly up. Chin in. Inhale, get long. Exhale, tuck in. Inhale, get long. Exhale, tuck in. Inhale, get long. And then exhale, tuck in. And then keeping your elbows and knees bent, take your wings out to the side, awkward bat. And then 3 more, tap in, open up, tap in, open up. And then tap in, and this time straighten and lengthen one more time. And then bring your left hand down and your right knee down. And inhale, lift up your head, your heart, and your hips, coming up into cow. Exhale, push the ground away. Inhale. Imagine you have horns reaching to the stars. And exhale, imagine even the hairs in your back are standing up, reaching for the stars. Inhale to cow. And then come to a neutral tabletop. Feel that in a neutral tabletop, you actively have to engage your lower abdominals already to support your lower back. And then stretch your left leg back. First pulsing out if you like, and then lifting up. And balance the power of your floating left leg with the reach of your right arm. Take a nice lengthening inhale here. And then with your exhale, bring your elbow and knee together. Your belly lifts up. So your body's like in cat. Inhale, stretch long, feeling a little towards the, and then exhale, tap into cat. Inhale long. Exhale, tap in. Inhale, lengthen one more time. Now exhale, tap in, and then keep your elbows and knee bent, and then open up side awkward bat thingy. Tap in like an accordion. Open up like a gliding bat. Tap in. Open up. And then tap in one more time. And then on the long, stretch your arm forward and your leg back. And with your exhale, bring your hand and knee down to the ground again. Inhale, lift up. Cow. Exhale, push the ground away, cat. Inhale, lift up for cow. Feel your shoulders coming towards your hips. And with your exhale, come into floating cat. So you're going to let your knees lift up and your back arch. Now keep your knees floating and come into a neutral spine. And then just shake your knees side to side. Yeah, you're a natural, Steph. You got that. Oh, yeah. It nearly feels like the pencil exercise. You can see it get all wiggly. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep your knees floating and push back with your hips till you can't go any further, and then lengthen your legs. Inhale, come over the top to plank. And with your exhale, bend your knees, stay low with your knees hovering above the mat, and pull your hips up and back. And then straighten your legs. Unamas. Inhale, float over the top to plank. Bend your knees and let your hips pull you all the way back to downward facing dog, your legs straightening last. Take another full inhale. And with your exhale, just sigh it out. And then take another fueling inhale. Empty your breath out all the way first. While your breath is out, look forward and lightly hop your feet in between your hands. Beautiful. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release and bow down. We're going to do that again. Now, inhale, halfway lift. Let your arms fly up with your spine. Let your legs get straight, fully extended. And then exhale, hug the back of your knees. You can soften your knees as well. Then root down with your heels and roll up one vertebrae at a time, letting your head lift up last. Stretch your arms up, try to touch the ceiling, look up. And then with your exhale, bring your hands to heart center, drop them down. Inhale, allow your breath to lift your arms high up over your head. And with your exhale, bow down, letting your belly button push all the way to your spine. Your knees can bend as much as you need to. Now inhale, halfway lift, this time bending your knees so your hands can stay on the ground or putting your hands on your shins, Let's take a full breath here. So get active with your belly. Your chest is moving forward, your shoulders moving back. Now you're going to step back and your spine's going to stay as it is, but you lower your hands to the ground and step your legs all the way back to plank. And let's take some breath here. So it's a little bit, Simon says, let's get hot. Because when we hold a pose, we have to work a little differently, a little more active with our breath, perhaps. Staying active in the pose actually makes it easier. So trying to like check out and just hold the pose makes it harder. So feel your body lengthening, still actively lengthening. Feel your abdominals lifting. And with your next inhale, inch forward and lower slowly all the way down to the ground. Now stretch your toes, root down with your toenails. Feel your thighs engage, pushing down with your hips a little bit. Lift up your chest, low cobra. Exhale, release down to the ground. Now inhale, you're going to get really active with your legs, and this time lift up into full cobra. So your kneecaps are off the ground, your arms are straight, but your legs are really working hard. And then with your exhale, come all the way down to the ground. It's totally fine to yawn. Okay, inhale, we're going to lift up to upward facing dog. That's like a floating cobra. So your legs are working really hard. Your hips allowed to slide a little forward once they lift off the mat. And then with your exhale, come all the way down to the ground. And then shift back to child's pose and lift up from child's pose to downward facing dog. So even though most of us here have done our vinyasas 1,000 times, really, every now and then it's so useful to slow down and kind of concentrate, get more precise again. Take another full inhale. Empty your breath all the way, and then holding your breath out quietly, float your feet in between your hands. Inhale, let your arms fly up, halfway lift. Exhale, hug the back of your knees. Let your head drop, your knees can bend. Root down with your feet and feel how that initiates. You're rolling your whole spine up to the sky, stretch up tall. And then exhale, samastitihi. Relaxing your hands at the end of your exhale. Inhale, stretch up high, your vinyasa. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift, feel your heart bright. And then either float to chaturanga, step back to plank, lower down, chaturanga or the ground. Inhale, your back bend. Low cobra, normal cobra, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let your knees be soft and the length really play out in your spine. Take a moment to notice the quality of your breath. Is your breath reacting to you, or are you leading with your breath? Take another full fueling inhale. Empty your breath all the way and quietly float your feet in between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Feel free to fly your arms. Exhale, release and hug down, bow down. Root down and roll up, stretch up tall. Exhale, samastitihi. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands connect to the ground still or your shins. Walk or float. Exhale, chaturanga or the ground. Inhale, smiling upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then inhale, just stretch your right leg up to the sky. Now notice that so much of your attention went all the way up into your right leg. Start with your hands. Feel your hands connect to the ground. Feel your arms strong, pushing the ground equally away. Your shoulders balanced. Feel the length of your right leg through the whole right side of your body. And then bend your right knee And as you feel that you're dropping your left heel more to the ground, let your right knee lift up and spin open, pulling your right heel to your buttocks, active with your right foot. Take another full inhale here. And with your exhale, take your right knee to your left elbow. Maybe try to lift it higher. And then inhale, stretch your right leg long. Exhale, relax your right leg down. Take a full cycle of breath here and notice, can you maybe feel that your right hip already is warmer than your left hip? Or what do you notice? And then inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. Again, start with your hands. That's what's connected to the earth. Follow the trail up. Feel that your arms are engaged. Your shoulders are reaching away from your ears. You're getting long from your hips, your ribs to your hips. And then bend your left knee and let your left knee lift up as your right heel drops even further down as an anchor. Feel your shoulder girdle square to the mat. And with your next exhale, bring your left knee to your right elbow. Try to lift it up high. And then inhale, stretch your left leg long. Exhale, relax your left leg down. Now, bend your knees a little bit more and notice that you can often relax a little bit more into your downward facing dog here. Take another fueling inhale. Empty your breath all the way and then walk or hop your feet in between your hands. Inhale, glide your chest forward. Exhale, release and bow down. Now root down, roll all the way up. Maybe imagine you even got taller since you started practice this morning. And then with your exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, Utkatasana. So let's take a couple breaths here to energize our pose. Start from your feet. Notice how your feet are. Notice that you want the weight in your heels. You can even peek down and see if you can lift up your toes. If you can't see your toes, just slide your knees back. Notice how that shifts your activity to your back body. Feel the length between your ribs and your hips. Now, everybody sit down like a good foot or whatever you call it. Yeah. Very nice. Just sit down a little deeper. So you want your thighs, like imagine little flames bursting out of your thighs. That's what we're aiming for. The fire of transformation. Take another full inhale and then exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Feel the openness of your chest. And then float to chaturanga or step to plank and lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. And with your exhale, step your right foot all the way forward to your right thumb. Let your left heel be lifted and rise up, crescent lunge. And then exhale, chaturanga. So you retrace your steps, come all the way back from where you just came. Inhale, let your heart go, but don't fling your neck back too much. So stay long in your neck. Nice stuff. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg long. Exhale, step your left foot all the way forward to your left thumb. Rise up, crescent lunge, your back heel's lifted, which is easier than warrior one. And then exhale all the way down, chaturanga. Trying to maybe do it straight. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Feel a small bend in your knees. Notice you can exaggerate that when you're tired in your upper body. And then notice if you really exaggerate that, you come into child's pose. Notice the rhythm of your breath. It was optional. Take another fueling inhale or find your way back to downward facing dog. Empty your breath all the way and hop your feet forward. Inhale, open up your chest, halfway lift. Exhale, release and bow down. Bend your knees, drop your booty. Inhale, Utkatasana. And then exhale, stand up. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk or float. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. With your exhale, tap your right knee to your right elbow. Feel your belly lift up. Inhale, stretch your leg long. And then exhale, same activity. Bring your knee to your nose and step your right foot next to your right thumb. This time, spin your left heel down to the ground. Rise up, warrior one. You want to feel the difference. It's much harder. Feel your hips closing. And then ride your breath all the way down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bend your knee and tap your left elbow. Inhale, stretch your leg long. Exhale, same motion. Bring your knee forward first and then step your left foot next to your left thumb. Spin your right heel down. Feel the difference here and rise up, warrior one, your hips squared to the front. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Find how you can release in your downward facing dog. So when we first start our yoga practice, downward facing dog is just work. But as we get a habit of practice in our body, you'll start to notice that downward facing dog can be a resting pose. That's why it's completely acceptable to go into child's pose anytime you need, especially as you are training your body to come more into the vinyasa. These moments of rest allow our fire to really ignite. Take another full inhale. Find your way to downward facing dog if you're not there. Empty your breath all the way and then walk or float your feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift, glide your chest forward. Exhale, release and bow down, let your head drop. Bend your knees, drop your butt. Inhale, Utkatasana, toes and heels touching. And then exhale, stand up. Samastitihi. Inhale, Utkatasana. And with your exhale, bring your hands to heart center and twist to your right. And then drop your left elbow to come to the outside of your right knee. So keep your legs active, squeezing together. Notice how your left knee wants to slide forward. Just lovingly pull it back and push down on your lower hand to open your heart. Can you do this with gentleness, even though it's a strong pose? And then inhale, Utkatasana, daring to keep your hips low. With your exhale, weight in your heels, bring your hands to heart center and twist to your left. How can you empower your pose here? The first is to hook your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. If it doesn't go there, you can always keep your elbow in between your knees. And then push down on your right hand to find a lift in your chest. It's nearly like you're holding your own hand to help you through the situation. And then inhale, Utkatasana, you got this. I love Utkatasana. And then with your exhale, bow forward. It's going to be okay. Inhale, halfway lift, walk, fly, or float. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward smiling dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. With your exhale, tap either your right elbow or your right shoulder. Inhale, stretch your right leg long. Exhale, same activity. Bring your knee forward first, and then step your right foot next to your right thumb. Rise up, warrior one. So you're going to spin your left heel down. And let's take a couple breaths here. So notice your posture from your feet up. What is your foundation? Feel that you're stretching your mat long, and that it's actually hard work to keep your hips squaring forward, and it's hard work to lunge with your right knee. Let your left hip come forward, even if you have to step your left foot a little bit to the left head wig, perhaps. So you really want to feel that your ribs are coming straight forward. Let your toes and your knee agree. And then inhale here, and with your exhale, open up warrior two. You can even lean against the wall, Layla. So even if there's not a wall right behind you, imagine there's a wall right behind you. So you have an uprightness in your spine. Lunge deeply with your right knee over your right ankle, pushing down with the outside edge of your left foot. And notice this is very basic postures, but even as a yogi, the work can be advanced here. So keep reaching out your arms. They're not in charge, you're in charge. Feel when you reach your middle fingers, the active part comes underneath your arms. That was bad English. All right, inhale, reverse your warrior. Keep lifting up out of your waist. Create the space in your own posture as you lunge deeper with your right knee. Allow your inhale to get space in your torso, and follow your exhale all the way down. Chatta freaking Ranga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. It's going to be awesome. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg long. With your exhale, take your left knee to your elbow or your shoulder. Like really work at it here. Inhale, stretch your left leg long. Exhale, bring your knee forward first, and then step your left foot to your left thumb. Deliberately spin your right heel down and rise up with the power from both feet to warrior one. Now, this is going to be fun. You're going to like this, Akiko. Bring your hands to your hips. Okay, I'm messing with you. But square your hips forward. So you might have to move your right foot to the right. The idea is that your whole torso is facing forward here. I always think it like kind of trying to look like an Egyptian. Beautiful. Now with your hands at your hips, try to lunge a little bit more with your left knee forward without losing your right hip. Now you might even take your hands and notice that your left hip and your left rib and right ribs are also pointing forward, and then stretch your arms up high. So the stretch of your arms actually starts by creating space in between your hips and your ribs. They're connected. Take another fueling inhale, and then with your exhale, open up warrior two. So in warrior two, this is one of the most radical poses because it's a very strong, active hip opener. It's this beautiful marriage of the yin and yang. So you have to allow your hips to open. That's the yin part. So you do this by really lunging deeply into your left knee, reaching down with your outside of your right foot. Engage your root walk lightly. Feel your arms stretching in the opposite direction, and then turn your gaze over your your left finger, middle finger. And then inhale, reverse your warrior. Feel like someone is lifting your ribs up out of your waist. Like even imagined help is helpful. Take another fueling inhale, and you got it, Layla, with your exhale. Yay, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then inhale, move forward to plank. And as slowly as you can go, see that you can lower all the way down through chaturanga to the plank, No, through chaturanga to the ground. You're not doing yoga on the plank. Beautiful. And then you're going to kick up both of your feet and reach back and see if you can hold on to your ankles. Now get active with your feet. So you're going to peel your toes back to your shin. And the first variation we're going to do is you're just going to lift up your chest, your knees and your hips stay on the ground. Yeah, beautiful. So you want to feel that you have to be a little bit lengthening in your lower back, very active in your feet, pulling your feet back. So pull your feet back, bear. Pull your toes back to your shins, like you're stepping on the ceiling. Beautiful. Now tell yourself something nice. I've got the best hair. I've got the best morning hair. No, you can come up with something else. And then lower down. Let go, wiggle, grunt, moan, cry a little bit. And then one more time, you're going to kick up your feet. This time, hold on to the outside of your feet with your toes pointed. We're going to go into the full posture here, Dhanurasana. So you want to, like, it feels like you're trying to make a circle, but it's really a teardrop where your belly button's on the lowest bow of the tier. So squeeze your knees together, push with the balls of your big toes, especially if your name is Isabel, and then inhale, lift up. So you're pushing with the balls of your big toes, and this helps your knees not splay out like extra wings. It's teardrop, not flying teardrop. Feel your belly as the low point. Feel like you're lifting up. Maybe let your head lift a little bit. Come to where your edges get active. Your toes aren't touching. So head wig, push with your big toes away from one another. Yes. So you're pushing the balls of your big toes forward. And then everyone release and relax. And you can push yourself back into child's pose to transition. And you know, the roots are really close to my heart. So we nearly always do at least 3 back bends. It's indoctrinated in me. So our third back bend is the same posture, but with the floor in a different place. So cross your ankles, roll over your crossed ankles and come onto your back. Lie down and pull your heels close to your buttocks, as close to your butt as you can get them. And then you want to feel that your feet are hip distance apart, like where your hip sockets are, where the bone of your femur comes into your hip, and then spin your toes in a little bit. Now push down into the earth with your feet and let your hips sail up to the sky. You can even hold onto your ankles here to really feel like it's the same posture we just did with from a different perspective. Now, my fine yogis, I know your practices. If you have wheel in your practice, this is the time to enjoy doing wheel. You can practice walking up your wall with your hands. You can practice standing up, Stephanie, if you want. You can practice your drop backs. You can practice just being at your edge, wherever you are. So allow yourself to be at your edge, this place where you are becoming. For 5, 4, 3, 2, none. Come all the way down. Let your feet slide out and your knees drop together. Take one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Feel the warmth in your body, the exhilaration, the liveliness. And then hug your knees to your chest. Maybe lift up your knees and kiss your knees. Thank you for doing such a good job. So many days in a row. They don't get any timeouts. And then keep your knees close to your chest. Pull your abdominals in and slowly drop your knees to the left. You can take your left hand on top of your knees. You can do a twisted root. But take a full in, and with your exhale, just sigh it out and feel your body release with your exhale. Now, with your next inhale, breathe in something that's still challenging for you. And with your exhale, breathe out its like opposite, what you want instead. Every time we're exhaling, we're sharing ourselves with the world. What's your contribution? And then inhale, come back to center. Maybe squeeze your knees in again, maybe kiss your knees again. And then slowly, keeping your knees close to your chest, your abdominals already engaged, slowly drop your knees to the right. Take a full breath in, a full breath out, allowing your good message, your contribution to ride on your exhale. So even with the most basic practice, we are not only honoring our nature, but we're elevating our nature so that we can be contribution, a gift, an asset. And then hug your knees back to center, stretch your legs long, and find yourself into corpse pose. So we mimic, dying in this pose, just to be resurrected. So let your energy drop down to the earth. Let your breathing return to its natural cadence without your changing it. And instead of trying to go to sleep, allow yourself to stay present by listening to all the different little sounds in your environment. And even notice how far away can you hear. With your next inhale, invite your breath to the edges of your body. Notice that your awareness travels with your breath. Maybe wiggle your fingers. Maybe wiggle your toes. Maybe smile. And then stretch long. Pull your knees in with your exhale and come onto your side. Just being in a fetal position for a moment to feel the vitality that, you know, even if it was a struggle, we always feel better afterwards. And then help yourself up. Coming into a seated position, allow yourself to root down to the ground to find the rise in your spine. Let your hands come together and feel the warmth and inside of both of your hands. Picture the person you dedicated your class to. And let's close with one Om. So empty your breath first. And let's take a nice inhale together. Ah. Bring your prayer hands to your third eye. Invite the divine light. And as we bow forward together, we say, Namaste. Namaste. And so much love. Happy full moon, lunar eclipse today. I think you in Australia and Japan might even be able to see it. If you're sore, come do it again. It's so nice to have you here this morning. So go out there and be awesome. Wee. Bye. Oh, I forgot to make noise. I'm out of practice. Yeah, nice to see you.